Roller skating, the sport of the 80s, with a long and colorful history behind it. You can trace its beginning all the way back to 18th century Belgium. It became a marvelous form of exercise and fun for boys and girls and men and women of all ages. And the sport quickly spread to countries all over the world. The first skate wheels were wooden, later metal. But in the early 1970s, roller skating really came into its own with the invention of the urethane wheel. Originally devised for skateboards, the wheels were quickly adapted to roller skates. And the sport enjoyed a rebirth of popularity with young and old alike. By the time the 1980s rolled around, there were babysitting roller skaters, stunt skaters, club skaters, and music-minded skaters. Because more and more people are discovering the sport every day, there are certain aspects of it you should know to help you skate safely and really enjoy it. If you're in the market to rent or buy skates, well, you won't have far to look. Roller skating has become big business. Skates come in a variety of styles, designs, and colors. Prices range from around $20 into the hundreds of dollars. The less expensive skates will probably be less durable and could be less safe. Experienced skaters say that boot skates give the best support, so choose yours carefully. Most amateur and recreational skaters are not aware of the importance of safety gear, and this has caused an alarming number of injuries. The experienced skater and members of skate clubs are very aware of this and never skate without the proper protective equipment. The biggest danger comes from the unexpected fall. In most falls, it's the wrist that's most vulnerable. The wrist guard is a must in preventing serious fractures or breaks. Wrist fractures account for most of the 100,000 roller skating injuries reported each year. Knee pads and elbow pads will help prevent fractures and skin burns. The same holds true for gloves. And for the more daring stunt skaters, helmets are a must. The most experienced skater knows that routine maintenance and safety checks are very important. It doesn't take a lot of time and can help prevent serious injuries. This is Billy Burke, an expert skater, instructor, and director of the National Skate Patrol of California.
Okay, we're going to talk about tying our skates right now. When we look at our skates, the first thing we want to look at is the toes. Towards the toes, you want the laces a little bit loose, but firm. Now, right up in the instep here, that's the most important. You want that quite firm. And then as you go up towards the top of the skate, then it's kind of loose. You notice the way I have no dangling laces? That's very important too. Now let's look at the toe stop. Toe stop, there's really not that much to it. You just make a simple adjustment to take it off or put it on. But if you want a little bit extra life to your toe stop, you can rotate it. The next thing we're going to look at is our wheels. If you got them too loose, you're going to have a lousy ride. It's not going to be smooth at all. If you got them too tight, they're not going to spin. So what you do, you loosen them up until they spin freely without any side play. Test them, I spin them, great, no problem at all. Next, I'm going to make adjustment on my trucks, if need be. How do I know that? I'm going to put it between my knees and I'm going to rock them back and forth. If they move from side to side quite easily, then maybe they're a little bit too loose. If they don't move at all, they're definitely too tight and you won't be able to steer them. So what I want to do, I want to take my tool right now and I want to move it counterclockwise. Here I'm making them a little bit looser and I'm going to test them again. What I'm going to do here is just make one final adjustment, maybe a turn and a half, couple of turns to the right. Test them one more time. Perfect. What I want to do now is I want to give my skate a once-over. I'm going to recheck my kingpins. I'm going to check my wheels. I'm going to check my toe stops. And if everything is right, then I'm ready to go on the road.
Once you're sure your skates are in proper condition, you should be equally sure of your skating skills. If you're just starting out, you may want to take some lessons from an experienced instructor.
One of the most important things a student needs to know when he gets out there and skates is how to stop. First, I'm going to show a toe stop, probably the easiest, most basic stop of all. Okay, I want to start by actually resting my weight on the back toe stop. I like all my students to know that when they do a toe stop, that their foot should slightly point out. If it points straight down, it's going to bump on the pavement. Notice the way my toe is very slightly pointed out, and there's quite a lot of pressure on that back toe stop. Okay, the next stop is the T-stop. This is a little bit more sophisticated, but a far better stop. And I require all my students to learn that within the first few weeks. Now what I'm going to show is the fall. Okay. Notice the way I flex my knees? Students, they never learn to bend their knees in the first few weeks because they're so stiff. If you can teach people the importance of bending their knees and being flexible, a lot of injuries will be reduced. Now that fall right there, the most important part of it was tucking the elbows in, being relaxed, and getting as close to the ground as possible. And of course, the safety equipment goes along with that. Now here's some of my students. They're going to try this. This should be fun. A lot of them picked it up quickly. They're a little bit nervous. The thing that she didn't do there is she didn't really get into the fall. You've got to roll. You must roll. If you don't roll, what's going to happen is you're going to take up all the impact of the ground. If I can get my students to roll, they're not going to get hurt.
Where you skate can be as important as how you skate. Parks with smooth skating lanes are your best bet. Skating around slower moving pedestrians can cut down on your fun and mobility. It could also result in possible injury to you or a pedestrian. In most places, skaters have equal rights with pedestrians to sidewalk space. But since skaters obviously move faster, they need to exercise more responsibility, courtesy, and common sense. While there are some establishments that allow skates to be worn inside, be aware of off-limit areas. And remember, skaters are bound by the same regulations as pedestrians when crossing at intersections. Be aware that alcohol and drugs do not mix with any sport, skating included. Loss of coordination and control at high speed is dangerous business. Have fun, but stay alert. Use common sense. Think of your skates as sporting equipment and skating as the sport it is. A sport great enough to be considered for Olympic competition. Well, think you might like to try roller skating? If so, then keep these basics in mind. Know your equipment. Keep it in good running order. Take a tip from experienced skaters. Wear the proper protective gear every time you skate. Knee pads, elbow pads, and especially wrist guards. Pick a good, smooth, safe place to skate, away from automobile and pedestrian traffic. Know the limitations of your equipment and your ability. Exceeding either one could result in serious injury. Then, go ahead and enjoy yourself in the fastest growing sport in the world.